reality check for the Democrats. They're behind where they need to be if they want to retake the majority in Congress.
CNN's Harry Enton compared polling data this year compared to the 2005 and 2017, and those were the last two times Republicans held a supermajority in the year leading up to a midterm election. Take a look at his analysis.
The Democrats versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot, the margins. Look at where we are now. Democrats are ahead, but by just 2 points. Look at where Democrats were already ahead by in 2017. They were behind by 7 points. How about 2005 on the generic congressional ballot? Ahead by 7 points, ahead by 7 points. And now they're only ahead by 2 points. Their lead is less than half of where it was in either 2017 or 2005 in July of those years, the year before the midterm election.
The outlook gets bleaker for the Democrats as you look closer at each individual House race. Enton says at this point, the GOP is actually poised to expand their majority next year.
It's actually Republicans with more net pickup chances at plus 12, according to the Cook Political Report, when you add in the likelies, the leans, and the toss-up races. So it's not just on the generic ballot where Democrats are behind their 2017 and 2005 pace. It's actually when it comes seat by seat.
Kiss him right on his face. He's my favorite pollster, my favorite person on CNN, second favorite after Scott Jennings. Yeah, it's not all great for the Democrats. They like to pretend that they've got this wrapped up, and that usually the rival party scores wins big in the first midterms right after, because we have thermostatic public opinion where people are like, oh, we want Republicans, now we want Democrats, now we want Republicans, now we want Democrats. They're not on pace right now, despite relentless media coverage and criticism of Trump, despite actually some internal disagreement within Trump about how things should go in terms of all of the deportations, the foreign policy, the Epstein stuff. You wouldn't think the break with Elon, the kind of Joe Rogan bro voters who came in not loving some of the foreign policy and immigration stuff. You'd think the Republican Party is headed for some big breakup where some of the independents or moderates or new people who came over say, oh, this isn't what I voted for. This is what I kind of like what Andrew Schultz said. Is that what his name is?
Oh, yeah, Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, what he said. That this is now, I voted for none of this.
Yes.
The Andrew Schultz voter becoming disaffected and no longer wanting to support the Republicans. Also, Republicans always doing worse when Trump himself is not on the ballot is an issue for them. But based on the poll numbers, that might not come to pass.
The fact that the Republicans basically finger-rolled into a basket this win for Democrats because of how disastrous the first 6 months have been under Republican leadership, specifically when Elon Musk was more visible, it was really going downhill. Now that they've organized and codified some of these.
Musk being gone is a good thing.
Well, I thought that he was doing a lot of bad things that were disastrous to people that actually were necessary in the federal government. However, I do think that his presence was causing an unease across both parties. And so him being gone and in the industries that have been beneficial to learn information from is also a good thing to me. That's fine. But I think that it was for Democrats, him being there also was something to campaign on. You didn't vote for Elon Musk. We are going to take this position back.
I would have if I could have.
Well, a lot of people feel differently. I mean, Elon Musk is one of the people to get attacked first. Trump is one of the people to get attacked last, specifically by the MAGA base or the Republican Party. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about what Democrats can do in the next election, the midterm election. And I think that they have completely dropped the ball, because not only the fact of like whether Trump did good or bad in his first 100, 200 days, it's the fact that all the complaints about how terrible of a situation we would be in, and all of the lack of preparation for this situation if it happened. Like when you talk about how bad a situation could be, you should prepare, well, in case of emergency, what button do you push? There's like everyone's scrambling trying to figure out what that strategy is, what that button is. Even when we talk to people, there's no clear, direct strategy that at least can be an overarching theme for the midterms that Democrats can stick to and win back more seats. And I think that, again, Trump's poll numbers are not good. And so people as the country judge the party by the president. So if Biden's in office and Democrats are controlling Congress, well, then they're blaming the Democrats in Congress. If Republicans in office and Trump's in office and then Republicans aren't doing all the things that they love, well, they're blaming all Republicans. And so this was an opportunity for them to catch up and figure out what the party wants. But they're still having so much infighting where criticizing Mamdani and worried about the wrong things that there's no solution that I'm seeing. It's just like, oh, we got to get back to the American voter. We got to talk to them and see what they want. The time to see what they wanted was about 8 months ago. Mm-hmm. You should know what they want by now. You should know what they want.
Well, and whether Mamdani is a is a solution for a specific area or a general solution are different questions, because New York City is obviously a very Democratic heavy place. You could, we're about to find out, but you could theoretically, it wouldn't be crazy that you could run a further left Democrat there and still win, because there's so many Democrats. Maybe you lose some of them because they're like, oh, this person's too far left for me, but there's so many Democrats. It's safer to do that in a New York City versus, you know, the country at large. If, you know, if we're getting into 2028, what a candidate's going to look like, where we're a very evenly divided country in some ways, where the states it comes down to are very closely split. Your Pennsylvanias, Michigans, Arizonas, Wisconsin, you know, we all know those
and
5,
every
7,
state
8
is
states.
different, and I think that's why they should govern themselves differently. I strongly believe in providing a lot of power to the states, which might be critical.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think the states should have some autonomy, because I don't think Wisconsin is anything like my upbringing in Long Island, New York, right? I think that people just want different things are priorities. So I do believe that there should be that. And the candidates should be based on what's appropriate for the location. So while everyone's in upheaval about somebody like Mamdani, that doesn't mean that your state or your city needs representation like that. That just means that New York is interested in that. And so you need to go based on what works. And that's why I was saying about Arizona earlier, that's not a litmus test to see if the whole entire country is moving more liberal. It's a litmus test for Arizona to say they never were moving extremely liberal. Why would we try somebody like that there? Just reading the room and understanding what your voters want, and then coming together as a Democratic Party and seeing what the overall messaging is, that messaging that gets in touch with that everyday person, that working class American that felt left behind. That should be the key messaging, and then everything else should be directed at who you're representing and what they're looking for.
I mean, Arizona really goes to show the GOP problem is that Republican primary voters get very attracted to some interesting candidates who are general election losers, but they can't help themselves. I'm talking, of
like
course,
Carrie Lake.
The Lake Effect. Lake
And,
Effect.
I
You've heard of Lake
was
Effect
an anchor
Snow?
when
There's
she was
Carrie
an
Lake
anchor, and I
Effect.
was so blown away
Really?
that she went into politics in this way.
But she's great for the MAGA. The MAGA base loves her.
I know.
She's great at speaking to them, but she is poison, toxic to a general electability. You know, this is a state that, yes, you're right, it votes for moderate Republicans all the time.
Yes.
So this is the GOP problem. They can't help themselves by selecting in you know, you could have a Carrie Lake type person in Alabama, or in, you know, maybe in Tennessee or
Texas.
Arkansas, or maybe even Texas is a little bit more blue. South Dakota, they're like solid red states. You can do a Carrie Lake. You couldn't do a Carrie Lake in just slightly held by Republican states. You find out what happens there; they get blown out.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem too, is that the people don't want every candidate locally to be like President Trump, because even the step away and the fact that
MAGA does.
Well, MAGA does, but that's not the whole Republican Party, right? And so a lot of people still
Virtually the whole
exist.
Republican Party does, but there's not. There are other people.
I don't believe that, because I do think when Trump lost an election, you know, it's because a lot of his base kind of was like, oh, this is even too dramatic for me. Maybe not the MAGA base, but Republican Party as a whole. There were criticism about him jumping back in. You saw all the different competitors he had from DeSantis on, and he was like, how could you dare even throw your name in this ring, right?
Well,
I
he
am
destroyed
automatically
them. He
well, I know there was still criticism.
Decapitated all of them.
Because they were empowered, I think, locally by their states to go forward, right? They were having good leadership. They seemed more level-headed. And so that still exists, a yearning for that. I don't think that all Trumps throughout all 50 states leadership style would work in any way, even for Republicans. So that we have to be aware of. Trump is an anomaly that works because he works for the MAGA movement and for presidency, but I don't know that that works throughout the country locally.
Well, he's direct. Everyone is moving in the Republican world to be more like Trump, I think. Even
by force.
Well, it's just because that's what works.
Well, no, he
that's
just
what
jammed
makes
his
you
way through, and
successful.
now, you know, in order to keep winning,
That's how you elevate your persona in the Republican media ecosystem, is to be more like Trump. And if it's insincere, then it doesn't work. But people are getting better at doing that type of thing. Trump's style will still be with the Republican Party indefinitely, even when he is no longer himself the candidate.
I'm excited to see these midterms. You know, there's always conversation about the red wave,
Yeah.
We'll
It's
see.
still a long ways off. It's not this year,
I
it's
know.
next year.
I know.
I know it'll go by like that. We'll be, flash forward, we'll be sitting here with slightly different haircuts talking about the upcoming midterms.
And I challenge the Democrats to, by the end of this year, have a solid plan that it can be crystal clear to both Robby and I, to be like, oh, wow, this is what they're running on for the midterm, so we know all next year what the actual strategy is.
Wouldn't that be nice?
We have a lot more to talk about on Rising. Stay with us.